Hi, I'm Wanda with Jimmy Branch Homestead, and today I'm going to work on my spring garden cleanup. I wanted to have it all cleaned up last year at the end of garden seasoning, and I actually did start, but I didn't get very far, and then I got busy on other things, and then bad weather, and I just never got around to it. So I'm hoping to get in that routine to where I can have it cleaned up, because it'll feel so much better in the spring to get started. But this is what I have right now. So I have a lot of leftover garden debris. I didn't pull up the plants from last year. I didn't take out the trellises. I did get them out of the raised gardens, but I did not get them out of the pots in here. So before I can do anything this spring, I need to get all of this mess cleaned up on the ground. If I don't clean this up, it will turn into dirt, and that will grow weeds. So for this weed block to work, you have to keep it, the dirt off of it, and it will still occasionally try to grow weeds where the staples are. So when they start, you just want to pull those up. I do have some holes in mine this year that I'll need to repair. We had some areas where rocks grew through, or where the storms caught them and just kind of ripped them. Mine has been down for a while. This here has been down for 2 years, I think. I'm pretty sure, two seasons. This ground cloth has been down, yes, because I put it all down before we built the fence. So, and the fence has been up for 2 years. So it's been, yes, 2 years. Back in the main part of the garden, that's been down for about 5 years. So, let's get started. Now I'm also going to be taking out, any of the name tag kind of things. I do reuse these. Look at all that black soil. So I planted in these buckets for the first time last year, and stuff did okay, but it didn't do great. My peppers did good, but the tomatoes just did not do as good. But I'm excited to see this nice black dirt. I think they will do much better this year. These tomatoes grew really big last year, so they're a little tough to get all the dirt back off. There's a big old fat earthworm in here. That's good. I'm leaving him in there. He'll be good for my plants. Okay, so I got all the cages and all the little plant labels out. So I'm just going to go back now and pull all the plants, what's remaining of the plants, and I'll be back with you. Well, that took me about an hour and a half to get up all the roots, and one of the things that takes so long is I want to get as much dirt out of those roots as I can. If I was just pulling them out and throwing them and not worried about the dirt, it would be a different story, but that I saved a lot of dirt by shaking them off real good. And we have to buy our dirt here. We have no good dirt here. So that's why I'm going to a lot of raised beds. I'm keeping my in-ground section that I originally had, but all the rest is being raised beds, and that's why. On the other side over here that I didn't show you, hopefully it's hard to tell with the sun, is my tea garden. And I have peppermint, which is coming back nicely, lemon balm, which I was afraid wasn't going to come back, but if I look real close at some of the roots, I do see some green coming up, so I'm going to leave those alone. My chamomile tea is coming back nicely. That's all the nice and bright green. And my sage is over here. I do need to cut that back, but I'm going to wait just a little bit. I don't want to put it into shock with the temperatures fluctuating so much back and forth still, as it's, just the first week of March. So next for this area, I do need to get it all swept up. When you're using the woven weed fabric, you do need to make sure you don't have any dirt standing or anything like that, because that's where the weeds will grow. And eventually, if you let it go, it's just going to be uncontrollable and tear up your weed fabric. So I do need to get all this swept up. I got lots of leaves and dirt. Some of the dirt bounced out of the pots when I was shaking off the roots. So I'm going to do all that off camera. You know what it looks like to sweep. So I'm just going to sweep this up. Then I'll need to haul this up to the opposite side of our property to burn. I'm not going to burn today. It's pretty windy, but I'll have to have a few wheelbarrows full of stuff. Okay, so I had to stop and take a quick break, and then I had to feed and water all the chickens. I did get all this cleaned up, so it looks so good right now. I will need to do a little bit more sweeping in between the rows here, because when I was shaking out the roots, the dirt out of the roots, some of it did go down in there, but that I'm going to sweep up and I'm going to throw back into the buckets. So I got all the debris picked up, and it's looking good. So now over here, well, there's my wheelbarrow full, but you'll see I have leaves and debris, all that up against the fence that blew in over the winter, in around where the cages were. So I have to get all that swept out and put the cages back, because if I just leave it there, again, it's going to grow junk on top of and eventually through my weed fabric. So I'm going to go ahead and get all that cleaned up now. Well, that's a good afternoon's work. I got all the plants and any weeds, there wasn't very many, pulled out of these bins. They are ready to plant. I do need to add a little more dirt to them. And my tea garden cleaned up just a little bit. All the old stuff. This is my peppermint. It's coming up good again. There's some little green, I don't know if you can see it, right down in here and here and here, coming up for my lemon balm. So I'm hoping it's going to come back. And again, my chamomile tea is looking good, all bright green. And my sage. Then coming out of this end of the greenhouse, this is my herbs, my chives, and the two end ones. That one's empty, there's not even dirt in it. That one had dill last year, so I got to finish weeding out those two. And that's just moisture that you're seeing on where I've been stepping and stuff. So I got all the dirt and leaves cleaned up over here and all along this aisle. I have a couple weeds down there to pull up, but that's about it. I do need to weed my garden bed. This is the bed I want to plant strawberries on later this spring when I'm breaking them apart. So I need to get that done soon. So that's about 1/3 of the garden cleaned up. And I didn't get the leaves up there on the other side of the chicken coop cleaned up, but I'll have to get that done too. Okay, I am back for day 2 of the garden cleanup. Again, I'm just doing it for a few hours in the afternoon. So, in the middle section of the garden, I'll need to rake some of the leaves out of there, but that area is going to be mostly weeding in the raised beds where I did not have the weed block. So I'm going to save that for another day. So today I'm working on leaf cleanup, and the in-ground portion of the bed is really covered with leaves. So this is the in-ground portion of our garden. As you can see, there's lots of weeds and vine debris, and even, this more sticks type stuff. The stick type stuff I'm going to have to take to the burn pile, but the leaves I'm going to want to mulch up. These are some leaves here in the wheelbarrow that I raked up just outside of the garden, because that's going to be another project here soon. But I save my leaves and mulch them so that I have them to mix in with our compost. I find that they break down much, much quicker than any sticks or, heavy garden debris. So that is my brown that I add into the greens, into the green compost. So just to kind of give you an idea, you can see my strawberry garden unfortunately has been overtaken with weeds. I'm going to have to completely weed that out, and then I'm going to have to rearrange my strawberries, and I'm going to put down weed block and replant the strawberries. And then I have a third bed down the other end that I'm actually going to add strawberries in. As you can see, there's quite a few leaves in between there I'll need to clean up, as well as out here. That's because we have 2 big trees that blow leaves into the garden. We have this tulip poplar tree, and I just love the tree, but unfortunately it's very infected. I can see insects holes all the way up the tree, so we'll have to be taking that down soon. Plus it is starting to lean. Okay, so I took the dog in the house since he won't stop barking. I'm going to go ahead and start mulching the leaves. This is a little tool that my husband actually found by accident on Facebook Marketplace. He went and responded to an ad for something else that he got picked up really cheap, and found this. And we have a lot of leaves, so this is really handy, but very dirty. So with my asthma problems and stuff, I do have a mask, but I find it's too thick and it steams up my glasses and I can't see anything. So I'm going to use this kerchief folded in half. Okay, so it's like a big weed eater. It's got like weed eater thick line inside with a bucket that just grinds it up and drops it down into the barrel below. So, of course, this would go much faster if you had all your leaves picked up in a big yard bag or, big trash bag and just dumped them slowly in, then it would go in and go down. So that whole wheelbarrow just got munched to only about here. Oh yeah, I can see it right here. So chops it up pretty fine, which helps it to break down a whole lot faster in my composter. So I'm going to go ahead and get more cleaned up. So I'm going to kind of just bring this along with me, I think, and put the leaves in it as I go and put the sticks in the wheelbarrow. I don't know how else to do it. So, of course, I missed, some of them flew out when I was putting them in. So, I'm going to go ahead and head down the hill by the berries. I think you can see that, not sure. These were all from my okra. Not sure yet. Oh man, it's still like a tree down there. It's just rotting, but I'm gonna have to come back and figure out how to get all that out. Sticks are pretty hard on the strings inside, just like a weed eater. Okay, I'm just going to continue on and then I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, so this whole wheelbarrow is what I could break off for now of the okra plants and the pumpkin vines. So I don't compost those, I do burn those. So I have a heaping wheelbarrow that I will need to take up and hopefully burn. The wind is picking up, so I probably can't do it today. But look over here. In this next row over here, I got all the big leaves up. There's just mostly a little bit of dirt for now. So what I'm going to do is pick up all the big leaves and grind them. And then I will come back and get the big blower and go all the way through the garden to get all the little stuff out. And that way I can sweep it up or whatever. I still have this over here to do. So quite a bit of mess yet on this side of the garden, plus the inside of the fence and the outside of the fence there. I didn't get that third part of the fence all picked up yet. So down there on the hill is where my pumpkin vines were. So I got a lot of that up, and some of the leaves shredded. So I'm going to kind of try to move that down a little bit closer and see how much more of the leaves I can get shredded. It is cooling off a lot, so that cold storm is coming through. And if it starts raining, of course, I'm going to have to quit and run. But we'll see how far I can get. Okay, so I pretty well got cleaned up the hill where all the pumpkin vines were. And even started down here. Got a good part of this over here cleaned up. But now I still have this whole side to do. It's not raining yet, so I'm going to see how far I can get. Unfortunately, my extension cord has reached its capacity, and I can't bring the leaf shredder any further into the garden. I could if I got another extension cord, but I won't be working all that much longer today, so I'll just have to walk back and forth. By the way, I forgot I had these, and they are so much easier than trying to use a rake. And they come as a pair, and they're to pick up leaves. They're specifically made for that. So like when you rake them up in your yard or whatever, and you're picking them up and putting them in bags, or usually it's doing this for me. So if you have a need for them, check them out. I got mine at Home Depot. I'm sure most box stores or outdoor stores would carry them. I've had mine for a few years, so the handle's broken on one side, and I see I got a crack here, but they still work, and I'm frugal, so I'm not going to buy any more until these don't work at all anymore. Okay. So I apologize for the chainsaw noise. My neighbors took down several trees, and every day they're cutting them up. So I do apologize for that. I'm going to go ahead and get back to it. Oh man, I think I might be out of weed eater line. I've really gone through a lot because I filled that green barrel up once and had to empty it into another trash can next to my compactor that I keep my shredded leaves in. So I need to check and see if it's either full again, which it should not be because I haven't put that many leaves through it this time, or if my weed eater line is just gone bad. So I'll check back. Well, the strings gave out on me, so I'm done for the day. I got another half a barrel. I'm going to go ahead and dump it in the covered barrel by the compost. And hopefully I know there's chances of rain tomorrow, but there was chance of rain tonight too. So hopefully it'll be nice enough I can get out here and do a lot again tomorrow. I do need my husband to get a chance to change out those strings. I'm not sure if he'll feel up to it tomorrow yet. He's been kind of under the weather for a few days. But while the wind is calm, I'm going to go try and burn that huge overflowing wheelbarrow full of stuff. Okay, well, it's been a couple days since I recorded because I've just been picking up tons and tons of leaves. I ended up with 2 full barrels of the shredded leaves for my composter, and then I've been hauling out barrels of leaves and burning them. It is too breezy yesterday and today to burn any more. I still have leaves at the far end of the garden, and for now I'm just going to blow them all down there so I can keep pulling them out. At the far end of the garden, we blew them to the far end of the garden last year, but I never did get around to taking them out. So it's my fault that I have so much this year to clean up. And if you don't have trees all the way around your yard like we do, hopefully you don't have so many leaves in your garden as we do. So today what I'm doing is I'm using an electric blower. Yes, we do have gas blowers too, but they're too heavy for me to use. So it's a pain with the cord, but It's easier for me than trying to hold the big, heavy gas blowers. So I've already blown out the other side of the chicken coop and a lot of what was right here. So I'm going to go back and blow out this aisle here. I'm not sure how much of it will catch on video. And then I'll be... Okay, so I got about 1/4 of the garden done so far. Remember, I had the greenhouse done. I hand swept it a couple days ago. Oh, so this is in between the berries. I still need to blow them out. And a little bit on this row here. Now I'm blowing everything that way. Whew. I'll have to come back and sweep up along that fence a little bit because stuff was kind of getting caught in it, some of the leaves and stuff. But I definitely got most of it. Plus, dirt tends to kind of build up there. And I don't want that because that's what causes the weeds to grow. I do have some weeds growing along the fence on the outside. I'm not going to put it in this video. But I will need to go on the outside and pull those away and pull up any weeds that are growing too. Get that dirt out of there. And I'll just take a little broom or maybe even a hand broom out there to do that because I got most of that all away. So I am going to continue on here. And then after I get all the leaves cleaned up, I do have some repairs I need to do. So I've already done one up in the main aisleway where I had lumber. And when I moved it, the mice had been under it during the winter. And tore up big holes in the weed fabric, and I've never had this before until this spring. I've got holes like this where the darn mice have made tunnels. So they kind of dig down one and come up another. There's one hole right behind this feed shed here. So I'll need to get little pieces of the fabric and go back and staple over that. It won't hurt anything. This is a main aisle here, and it got pretty tore up, so I'll put a piece along that. And then up there, there's a lot of rocks. We have very rocky ground here in southeast Missouri, and it's kind of coming through some of it. So I'm thinking about putting some cardboard down and then putting the weed fabric over the top of it. Should keep the darn little gravels from coming up through it. I have an actual bigger rock in front of the chicken coop. It was nice and smooth there when I put the stuff down, and now I got a rock coming up. So go figure. So I'm going to go ahead and get these blown down to the other end. I won't bother showing this. I'll set the camera up at the other end where I have more wide open space. So I've made it to the berries, so I am about 2/3 done with the blowing. So the nice thing is, from the inside out, I'm also blowing all the leaves away. Of course, not down there yet because I'm not there yet. But look how much nicer it looks when you have all the debris up. over by the chickens. Now, like I said, I have some repairs to do. So, okay, I guess I better get back to work. Okay, well, we're supposed to really get storms tonight. That's why I'm really pushing myself to get this done today. I want all the leaves down there, so when I'm pulling them out with the wheelbarrow, that's the only place I have to pick them up. Now, sometimes as I'm blowing that way, a wind gust will come up from the, actually east, and blowing against me. So I finally got that row over here all cleaned up. And these are the blueberries in the blue pots. They have buds on them, so I'm excited. It looks like most, if not all of them, made it through the winter. So I still have this area, which is where I grow my viney stuff like squash. Last year I grew pumpkins here. And then the flatter part of the rows in the garden. I got all of the berries cleaned up, so I'm excited about that. So this part definitely goes faster than all the other parts. I can feel another breeze coming up, so I'm going to have this stuff blowing on me again. But of course, then I'll have to come back and weed the few areas that in the holes where I plant the plants over the winter, it does get weeds growing in there. So, and then sometimes where there's a staple or a seam. That's why I like to overlap my seams at least 6 inches on this weed fabric. Okay, we're going to move up further. It feels so good to have the entire garden cleaned up. This is the first time it's been this good in 2 years when we put the fence up. I mean, I did a lot of cleaning last year, but not to the extent as this year. So, the tubs in the greenhouse area are ready for planting. Most of the raised beds are over there. I have all this aisleway cleaned up. So excited for that. I always had lumber and materials in here. I've moved the greenhouse materials to over here out of the way. Just pulled out my herb garden buckets a little bit and stuck them behind there, out of the way. Feels so good. Now again, this area over here, that's going to be a different project. I have indoor-outdoor carpet I'm going to put here, so it looks like grass. And I'm going to do some more decorating. I'm going to have these put back here. And my little windmill here. And some other things. I have some planters and different things I want to put out here. And I'll keep adding to it over time. I'd like to get a couple of big pots too with some healthy plants to give the chickens some shade in here when it's super hot. And also some herbs that are good for chickens. So I might put some of those pots over here. I don't know if you remember, but this had a lot of dirt and debris here. So it's all cleaned up. Even my picnic table's almost cleaned off. These are going to be used for patching holes. And this is going to be some of the rocks I kept for some decor over on the green carpet. So berries are doing well. They're starting to bud. This is the blueberry row. This is the blackberry row. I need to get out here and get those all tied up. This is the raspberries. They're starting to grow, unfortunately. I wasn't ready for that because I want to take them out of there and plant them outside. Again, that'll be a project all its own. The only thing I don't like about these raspberries are they are the pokey kind. They have little pokies all over them. So you have to wear like leather gloves or something or you'll get those little slivers in you. I'm going to leave the raised garden bed here. Haven't decided what I'm putting in it yet. Maybe some more blackberries. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Because it's already set up for berries, so blackberries would be a good thing to add here, and it would be right next to the other blackberries. We love blackberries. Eat a lot of cobblers in the summer. Eat a lot of strawberries in the summer. Yes, I need to come back and do weeding still. But doesn't the cleanup look great? Oh, I still have that one little pile of stuff to take to the burn. And then, of course, all the leaves in the very back. But they're kind of down over a hill, so they typically usually pretty much stay there. So let's hope they do until I can get them out of there. I don't remember if I showed in real detail what a mess this whole area was. It had plant debris, it had leaves, and I've blown out this side. This was all covered in leaves. This side had a lot of leaves on both sides of the fence. And blowing through the fence, I was able to blow a lot of those back. Now I'll get the rake and I'll take them down over the hill over there. So I'm really excited. The garden's ready to start its journey for this year. So if you're enjoying this type of video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and share our videos on your social media. It's the best way you can help our channel to grow. Thank you so much for watching Jimmy Branch Homestead. By the way, for those of you that have been watching our channel for a while, we are over 1,000 subscribers finally, but we still are not at the 4,000 watch hours. So if you're a new subscriber, please go back and consider watching many of our other videos. I have several different playlists if you come to our channel and check it out. We have one on canning, one on cooking, one on gardening, one on building things, one on chickens. Thank you so much for watching Jimmy Branch Homestead and for your support.